going to try that one again. Hi, everyone. Hello. I am so happy to see you, and I'm so sorry to pull you out of such a beautiful day. How many of you were outside just now? I'm really sorry. I'm going to try to help you not go to sleep and get really fired up about your careers and about Kenan-Flagler. My name is Amy Whitmare. For those of you I have not had the pleasure of meeting, I'm the director of the MBA Career Management Center here at UNC Kenan-Flagler, and I'm fired up to tell you a little bit more about the CMC. I don't know if you guys heard some of my music going. Did anyone hear some of the music? Okay, I'm from South Louisiana, so that means two things. One, I know how to cook. Two, any guesses? Who dat? That's good. I like the sayings. But I know how to party, too. I have some good parties. And that's where I hail from. I got my MBA from the University of Texas at Austin, actually in their executive program. I had a history in high tech before joining UT Austin's Career Center myself. So if you're thinking about career switching, I am the model of a huge switch from an MBA career into higher education. And I joined Kenan-Flagler about 3.5 years ago because I am really excited about helping students achieve their objectives, your career goals. What an exciting role to play in all of your lives. As I was thinking about my remarks, how many of you have heard a presentation from me before? Okay, I'm trying to spice it up a little bit. But so for those of you who haven't heard it before, I want to make sure I convey all that important information. But those of you who have heard it before, hopefully there'll be a few new nuggets in there for you. But as I was reflecting on you all and where you are in life right now, I think some of you are all in, you've signed, you've deposited, you're good to go, and some of you are still pondering. Some of you are thinking, some of you have options. And what an incredibly, I think, intense time to be in for some of you. And you started from an application pool for Kenan-Flagler that was extraordinarily large, a 30% increase in our applications last year alone. And you've made it through that first funnel. And some of you have made decisions and some of you not. And it's not unlike the career search, actually. Looking for an MBA program is not unlike looking for an MBA job, right? So there are highs and lows. I can imagine that not all of you executed your MBA application process flawlessly. So you probably made a hiccup along the way. You got really excited. Some of you nailed your interview, some of you didn't. Some of you are waiting to hear and you're dying to know, and some of you had an option, some of you didn't get into. I mean, you had disappointment, right? And some of you got exactly what you wanted, you signed and you're done. And that is almost exactly what the job search is like. If you think you're done with all that, I got news for you. But there's one really, really, really important difference. I'm willing to bet large sums of money that you will only go to MBA school once. Let us hope. How many jobs do you think you're going to look for and get? Somebody raise your hand and say more than one. More than one. A lot. This is a long, long, long race. This is an important pivotal moment in that race, a time to open doors, to explore new paths, but it's not the only time you will ever get that job. And we're really good at helping prepare you for this first job search, for this MBA job search, but we and you should also be thinking that this is the first of many, many phases for you in your career. Remember that long term when we're in the fray and you're in the core courses and you're on fire. So I ask you to remember that. So I'll go through a little bit more about the Career Management Center, again, adding a few little spicy details as we go along. And then after this, we'll head to our career concentration overviews, where a number of my team members and I will join you, along with faculty members and other center directors, to talk in more detail about some of those functions and career concentrations. Okay, some of you have seen this slide from me. This is our role, the CMC's role in the career process, advisors, coaches. How many of you had a really good mentor ever in your life? Okay, think about, just for a minute, what made them a really good mentor. Was it because they were high-fiving you all the time saying you're awesome? Maybe. They probably gave you some tough feedback, right? They probably knew a little bit more about the landscape than you did and were able to inform you about that. Yeah? We serve in that capacity too. So we will give that tough feedback. Sometimes it's the first time you've ever heard that feedback in your life. Sometimes it's fashion advice, believe it or not. Sometimes it's breath mints. We'll pick you up when you fall hard, and we will high-five you when you get a victory in this whole process. But we expect a lot from you as well. And I would hope if you join a top 20 MBA program, you would expect a lot of yourselves. I am no slacker, and I do not breed slackers. We're going to work hard, and you're going to work as hard as we are, and we're going to be in the trenches with you. But it takes two, right? You got to get on the field, you got to play hard, and you got to have a great coach to push you. And that's how we view ourselves. And I actually think when I think about our competitive advantage from a business school, peer school perspective, I feel like that level of commitment and coaching and caring we provide to our students is second to none. It's really important. We actually care about you deeply, truly, in my heart. So that's definitely our role as coaches, advisors. This is our formal mission statement. Everybody gives you blah, blah, blah mission statements all the time. I know you know this, but I wanted to underscore a few things. On the first part, we're talking about giving you advice, skills, counsel, so that you can conduct a successful job search. Do I say I want to put everybody in investment banking and consulting? Help me out. No, I do not. Do I say I want everybody to get the top salary job they could ever dream of? Not necessarily. Do I say I'm going to teach you how to be the best on-campus job searcher the world has ever seen? No. I'm teaching you how to be a job searcher, a job seeker, on off-campus. This will be the first, and maybe sometimes for you the first, but definitely probably the last time you will ever have the trappings of on-campus recruiting, ever. Cool, right? All these companies flying in, driving in, hosting you for cocktail hours, begging you to come work for them. Sweet, right? Awesome. We're going to teach you how to navigate that, but there's a whole world of jobs out there. And by definition, on-campus is limited and strong and incredible, but not the only thing. And so we're going to teach you how to do both of those things. And it's going to be really individual and specific to you. Parallel pathing, plan Bs, plan Cs, where you want to work, all that's different for each of you. And I greatly respect that. I think my team does as well. The second part is we're thinking about building those strong relationships with companies. As I mentioned, campus recruiting is a big part of this gig, not the only part of the gig. And we want to make sure that we are branding the school well, that we are in employers' locations, that we are meeting with them frequently, that we understand their needs, we're responding back to what our students should be prepared for, and that we have strong ties. Because at the end of the day, it's people who hire people. And we need to have strong relationships with those firms. So that's our mission statement with a little bit more color to it. These are the people that help make this happen. I have 5 associate directors who report to me. Many of you have probably seen this slide. We have 3 of those associate directors here with us today, and you'll meet with them starting at 2 o'clock during the concentration overviews. So Chris, Karen, and Ann, could you just wave? Yay! Okay. So all of my team is extraordinarily committed and terribly competent. Many of them have top MBAs themselves, have had a traditional MBA career and practitioner career before deciding to come into higher education, come to Kenan-Flagler, and help coach you all as students. And they're really committed to that mission as well, and very practical in their advice. Katrine Baker, and you can see that they're functionally aligned. You'll have a one-on-one relationship with this associate director of your choosing early in Mod 1 when you join us. And this is your go-to person. This is your primary coach. Doesn't mean you won't be able to see the others, particularly those of you who are still thinking about multiple career paths. I know you had a really great admissions essay about exactly what you wanted to do, but we know that's not always true. And you might even believe it is true, but half of you change your mind anyway. Why? You fall in love with a new subject? Great, you should be able to do that. You don't get the job you thought you were going to get. Plan B, I didn't want it, but okay, we got to look for something else. So there's a lot of options and a lot to navigate. And so my ADs, you interact with them on a one-on-one basis. We have a weekly career lab that meets to help you stay ahead of the game, because this is a lot coming at you all at one time. So, and that's particularly important in the fall. So we have a weekly career lab where you can engage with them. They're often at club events, and they're just very accessible. We have office hours as well twice a week, so you can just drop by. And of course, there's loads and loads of email. Raise your hand if you're interested in marketing. Okay, got a few of you. You'll see TBD. That is not actually the name of anyone that's going to be on my team. I actually just finished, just to give you an update on that, because some people are a little nervous. Where's that marketing person? I am actively hiring that marketing AD as we speak. In fact, I just finished the phone screens initially this week. There were 107 applicants for that position, and I phone screened 9. And it's a really nice reminder for me of what it's like to be an employer, because I'm phone screening. And there is nothing more difficult than interviewing with the Career Management Office, because this is kind of our gig, right? So everything you do, I'm like, ooh, that wasn't perfect. That was not what we're supposed to be doing here. And I think Karen Howley on my team, who covers investment banking and real estate, she said this is the most difficult interview process that she ever went through to come work for me. And that is a lot coming from an investment banker, former investment banker. So I am going through those candidates. I expect to bring them in for campus interviews here in the next couple of weeks. I have every intention of having a new marketing AD on board by mid-June, which will be a month before ASW, and certainly 2 months, give or take, before orientation begins. So fear not, they'll be trained up and ready to go. The predecessor for that role has also stayed within Kenan-Flagler, and we'll be doing a lot of cross-training when the new person arrives. So hopefully that will put all of your fears to rest. This is our career process. This is unique to UNC Kenan-Flagler. We believe that you'll have to rinse and repeat this job search again later in life. That is our focus. So we put you through a process, and we deliver all of this information starting in ASW all the way through the time you graduate and then some. And the first stage, always important, explore and evaluate. Who are you? What do you like? And what jobs match with that? I can't tell you how many MBAs do not do this work. And we have a very short runway to do it. I'll talk about that in a minute when companies start coming on the campus model. But you don't have a lot of time to think about that. I implore you to use the time now. We will do it with you as well, but it's coming fast. So who are you? What do you like? What MBA jobs are even out there that would be a good match for you? Even if you think you know it, go revisit it. And make sure that you reaffirm that for yourself. Because if you got the wrong aim, or you don't have any aim, that's going to be really hard, right? So that's my little sneak peek there and advice. After that, let's assume we've got all that shored up, and it can change over time. Building your brand, talking about yourself, building a resume, a LinkedIn profile. I know most of you have LinkedIn profiles, but we're going to make them better. I have yet to meet a student that doesn't need improvement on one of these dimensions. I have yet to meet a student, I promise you. Then you got to go after it and get it. And most MBAs, particularly when they start MBA, they're like, okay, great, I'm going to go. I'm going to go now. And they haven't done the first two things. You got to figure out who you are, what you want to do, what's your story, what's your resume, what's your LinkedIn profile, and then you go talk to people. How terrible to talk to people with, you got nothing to say, or you got a weak thing to say. You've lost that opportunity. So temper that. I want you to get out there and learn, but I want to make sure that you got the right tools before you go out there and have those conversations. So you're targeting, you're activating, you're getting the interview process down, you're doing a ton of mock interviews with us and our second-year career mentors, who we also interview and hire. Intimidating. And then you got to go close the deal, execute the opportunity. And you'll cycle through this over and over again, negotiating an offer, asking a company for more time. All of this stuff will cycle through over and over again. And so this is what our goal is to put you through that and everyone to go through that in a different way, in a different timing. Some of you hardcore on-campus recruiters will start August the 5th. Some of you real estate seekers will still go through this, but maybe the formal job interview won't be till March. And that's okay too. We're all going down the same path. You just have your own little way of getting there. Okay. Equally important to the associate directors with whom you'll have direct one-on-one contact is the employer relations function on my team as well. Know that it is robust. Know that it is dedicated to the full-time MBA program. So we're out there selling the school as well, but primarily thinking about opportunities for full-time MBA, including internships. We are running a very robust campus recruiting engine, marketing plans with employers, employer strategy sessions, going to get new employers. There's a whole back office there that you guys probably never see. But know that I take that very seriously. It's the other half of my time is on the employer side. Many of you might be curious about our employer relationships that we have. This spreadsheet is really well known, well regarded. A lot of you have already seen it, but I want to make sure you know about it if you don't. I just give all the data to you. I just dump 5 years of history. No other school does this, to my knowledge. You'll have to let me know if someone else has caught up with me. But 5 years of data, so you can tell who, when, function, where did they go, everything but their name. They really were people. I promise, not just student number 15. You are a person to us, I promise. And so you can see that. That's 5 years of history, not always what will be in the future. We are every day talking to new employers, every day hosting, I'm calling another employer every day pretty much. So you never know what's going to come up, but this gives you a good sense for what our alumni footprint would look like in some of these companies, what the types of jobs and the strength, probably the brand of the school as well. So hopefully that's a good starting point for you and you found that to be helpful. You also probably have seen our employment stats. I won't belabor those, but it is a well-rounded portfolio. All that to say, some of you change your mind, so it's good to have options. But like most MBA programs, there's a number of big areas that we represent: consulting, marketing, finance, real estate, general management, et cetera. So none of that should be a huge surprise to you. Let me know if it is. We can talk about it. So at the end of this, you want a job. I get that. That's really important. And over time, we feel like as a school, we have really prepared our students well for closing the deal on a job search. And you can see, if some of you are worried a bit about the recession or the effects of the recession, you can see we have definitely pulled ourselves up from the trough, the bottom of the trough from 2009, 2010. And this chart reflects a nice upward trend, which is always good in a chart. Well, not always, mostly good, for offers and job accepts. Also, some of you might have a few loans to repay, so salary is important, but not for everyone, not always to the same level. It also occurs to me in reviewing this chart, which I've delivered about 1,000 times, that I have no legend saying that this is in thousands. So I just want to clarify that it is indeed in thousands. You're not coming out with $105.4, I promise you. So upward trend, a lot of that has come from a recovery in real estate, a recovery in financial services, as well as an increase in our West Coast employment, which carries with it a higher salary. So that's if you're curious about why that's gone up. It's not necessarily mirrored in most top MBA programs, a bit more unique to us. Oh, that does not include, by the way, bonuses and performance bonuses, relo, signing, you know, a new car, whatever else y'all get when you get your great jobs. All this is great, but it's really important to us that we understand with the student view of our services and how we're doing. I survey the students twice a year and a ton more than that informally to ask them, how are my ADs doing? What's the quality of their coaching? What's the quality of their advice, their responsiveness? And we have incredibly high marks across the board. And these are some of the comments that we received from our last survey. And they're pretty awesome. And I did want to say, too, that we actually do sleep. So if you send us an email at 2 a.m. after you're done with your little happy hour with your friends, we don't always respond. But I think that underscores our level of commitment to our students. And it's important to me to hear that from you all and improve where we need improvement. Because I think it's one thing to start at a really strong MBA program, but it's another one to start at a really strong MBA program who is still striving to get better. Because you can get really complacent in this gig. And complacent I am not. I am a lot of things, but complacent I am not. A couple of new numbers for you guys. Those of you who've seen some of this information before. We just wrapped up our internship interviews, and we hosted 1,042 internship interviews. That's up from 960 last year. And that is unique one-on-one contact with an interview on this campus. And most of that happens in about a 3-week time, and most of that in January. So pretty intense and robust process there. I mentioned before our West Coast efforts. We have 9% of our graduates going there. That's from the class of 13, so those are new numbers. That's up from about 2 or 3% just 3 years ago. So that's a concerted effort for us to open up those channels. And the last new number I'll give you is the lower right, is the date of the first company presentation. That is a real date. That's 2014, this fall. So if you come to Kenan-Flagler, the first time companies to be on campus, some of them to see first years, some of them to see second years. But the first time somebody can come to this campus is August 26th. That's right, sports fans. August 26th. So all of a sudden the gates open and you've got 5 companies a day, core classes, clubs, you're on fire. So again, the more you know what you're doing, the better you'll be able to execute. Some of you won't participate in campus interviewing as much, and that's fine too. Still good to explore because it's pretty interesting. And like I said, high marks on our student surveys. So now what can you do now? Some of you are already committed, you're in. You are Carolina Blue. I'm gonna give you some things to do. You got some homework. Some of you on the fence, you still got homework. Even if you don't come here, it's still good to do. So I would encourage you to think through some of these. Okay, register for ASW. Well, you have to deposit for Kenan-Flagler first, I think, and then you can register for ASW. But register for ASW. The CMC, that's your first formal contact with the CMC is through ASW, and we have career workshops embedded into your ASW curriculum. So we will work resume, we will work elevator pitch, we will work networking, all in July, and you get a head start on all of that stuff. So it's great on academics, great on social, great on career. So I encourage you to do that if you haven't done that. Look for a summer prep email from us. We are right now putting the finishing touches on a career library that we will release to you all as admitted students. And in that library, there's a lot of how-tos, there's some executive summaries, there's some videos that we'll post about quick resume primers, elevator pitch, networking primers, LinkedIn primers. We're gonna put that all out there for you guys, and you can log in throughout the summer. So if you're preparing for a summer conference, if you're preparing for some discussions with alumni or people in industry, you can take a look at all of that information and not freak out, because we don't want any summer freak out. You can also get ahead if you're not doing any of those things. So look for that. We're also gonna work through LinkedIn as well. I want you to take some time to reflect on your own career in the past. The one thing that MBAs wish they could do more of is reflect. And they don't, because they're too busy. So take the time now. Particularly if you're on one of those summer not quite working kind of gigs, which I really want in my next life. You have time to do this. It just takes a little work. Sit down. Why did I hate that job if you hate it? Why did I love that job if you loved it? What was your favorite job? What was your worst job? If you could be anything in the world, what would it be? And why is that important? All of those things. Take the time now when your brain is still fresh and you have a little bit of breathing space to do that. Learn about MBA career paths. I talk about this a lot. You can go on Indeed.com. You can type in MBA internship, MBA real estate internship, MBA marketing internship. Read it. What do they even do in those jobs? Do you like it? Go look up another thing. Hey, welcome. Go look up another thing, another internship, another full-time job. Find a company you're interested in and go research them. What kind of jobs they even have on their website right now? Do any of them look cool? If not, maybe they shouldn't even be in your set anymore. Take that time to do that research. Try to narrow your career path, not too much. You don't want basket weaving in Boise, Idaho, because there's one job for an MBA there. Not really, there's probably not even one. So you get my point. You need multiple companies, multiple geographies at times, multiple positions that you might be gunning for. Because the probability is not that you're gonna get 1 for 1, right? You can get 1 for 30, 1 for 20. Some of y'all get 1 for 1, but most of you won't. So you need to have a nice little narrow, but not too narrow. And then lastly, take some time to dust off all your social media, Google yourself, clean up that Facebook, clean up those pictures of you beer funneling things. And it has happened, and every year it happens, and every year an alum calls me, and I have to hold out the phone like this because the student did not clean that crap up. And the job's gone. So just do it now. Clean it all up, make it all private. But that's the defensive posture. The offensive posture is put good stuff out there, okay? Start a blog if you don't have one. Start posting and be active in some of these online communities. Start doing projects and things that can brand you and give you stories and fodder later. So don't even just think of it as a defensive move, which I think is the bare minimum. We can be really offensive with social media, okay? All right. Oh, yes, 1 minute to spare. I have time for one question, and then I will be in other concentration sessions later if you guys want to hit me up. Yes, ma'am.
In terms of the career paths that are a little less traditional for MBAs,
yes.
How do you guys assist with that? Because I find where MBAs are always recruited with some big Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, but what about ones that are like a little bit different, like in media or entertainment or anything like that, where having an MBA is not necessarily like, the prime goer for that position?
Yeah.
Are you guys helpful with that as well?
No, we totally don't help you guys. You're dead to us. You're out.
I know that's a harder thing to like
Yeah.
fill or.
Absolutely. So we would want to have a really a realistic conversation with you. So if it were media, for example, media and entertainment, I and my team would say to you, hey, there's not a lot of MBA jobs in that field, period. There's just not a lot in the world. There are some because they don't prioritize an MBA in the same way that CPG firms, in the same way that financial services firms do. Okay, so we're looking at a small set there. We're going to talk woman to woman right there. Small set. Okay, what do you need to do to get that? What is your backup plan to get that? Because it might not happen, right? There's not this nice paved path there. What are your challenges? What are your networking obstacles? How do you get to the alums who are in those fields? How do you hustle? What conferences do you need to go to? What professors do you need to reach out to? But it won't all be in a campus machine, and I'll tell you that right now. But there's a path for you. It will require a bit more hustle, which again, I like hustle, so I think this is a good thing. But it'll take a little bit more hustle. It'll take an organized, dedicated approach. And I would want you to have a backup plan, maybe a couple, because I don't want you feeling like you didn't get it coming out of the gate. And get really good advice from a number of folks. We also have clubs in that area as well. So I'd want you to get some second years in the mix. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'll do one more, and then we'll go. Oh, hey, Karen. All right. There we go. That is not a live slide. Y'all don't write any numbers down.
Similar question.
I just work here. I actually don't know anything. Yes.
How does your team support entrepreneurs and people that are looking at entrepreneurship?
Yes, entrepreneurship. Chris Hergen on my team actually covers the EVC. Entrepreneurship is an interesting, we have an incredibly great center who helps with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, like sustainability, means different things to different people. So that's the first thing, is get together on the definition. Is this you want to start your own business? Is it you like startups? Is it you like creativity in general? Is it you have a really great idea and you already have funding and you're going? So that's the first phase, is just think through what it means to you and what you want to do. I would say with any MBA wanting to start your own firm in the short term, we would almost always recommend that you have a backup plan. Because what I don't want to happen is you get to graduation, you're knocking on the door, and you thought you were going to get funding, and you thought it was going to come through, and it didn't, and you're stuck, and you can't restart a career engine like you can't grow a garden overnight. So we probably have you parallel path. Okay, so great, you want to start your own company, or great, you want startups. Let's make some company lists of firms you want to reach out to. But let's dabble over here and see if there's some other things that would still get you to entrepreneurship in the second job, still get you to business ownership in the third job. And so it's just an integrated plan for that. But we have an incredible center, the whole host of other activities to help support that as well. Thank you, and I will see you in the concentration overviews.